All right, welcome back to the Crucial Combo Podcast. You are tapped in with your host, Kojo Afriye. I have my beautiful co-host.
Faith Afriye.
Yes, my better half, my better half. What is going on, y'all? What is going on? It's hot. It's July. Hot as fish
And it's
grease.
very humid out here right now.
It's very humid, yeah. So,
The air is thick.
yeah, the summer is summering, as they say. So, what is
Yeah.
going on? What is going on? What's the deal?
Well, first we would like to give our prayers and our condolences to those who were affected in the Texas flooding. I think somewhere around Kerr County.
Okay.
Um,
That's like Central Texas, isn't it?
yeah, that's like Central Texas. I think so far they've found 100 people that have passed, and there are still some missing.
Okay.
So, yeah, our hearts and our love and our prayers goes out to those who were affected by this flood. Apparently, this flood rose up to 45 feet, I guess, along that river.
Now, this is a river that overflows.
No, not 45 feet. I think about 36 feet. Yeah, it overflowed. It rose up to 36 feet in like 45 minutes.
That's crazy.
So,
Think about that in Texas a lot as far as like flooding.
right,
I wouldn't even think flooding in Texas,
right,
and we have family in Texas. So, you know,
right.
thank God it didn't affect, the family. But, yeah. So you said over 100 people,
So
missing?
far, have are dead.
Oh,
You know, so far they found 100 people that have died, and there's still 28 people missing, reported missing right now.
crazy.
And I know that it hit, like, I think there was a Christian camp, a all girls camp. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that was hit really hard, and I think a lot of those directors, camp members, and participants have either been found dead or are still missing.
Man. Yeah, definitely our hearts go out to all of them. I mean, it's, and, you were saying you heard earlier they were trying to blame it on Donald Trump.
Well, they were trying to blame it on Donald Trump because apparently, I guess there was some defunding.
He made some cuts
with the National Weather Service.
Okay.
Yeah, he made some cuts to the National Weather Service. But apparently, the meteorologists and all of the experts say that it wasn't due to the cuts. They had more than enough people responding, or who issued the warnings.
Yeah.
There were warnings issued 24 hours before and 3 hours before for a flash flood.
Well, listen.
So, yeah,
Trump
I don't know how they can pull
weather. That's God, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they can pull Trump. Well, I guess that's how they wanted to
pull it in.
Blame Trump, is saying that it was due to the cuts, but apparently that's not what the professionals out there are saying. They're saying the warnings were out there and there was more than enough notice, but I know some people just still got caught up in it, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, definitely our hearts go out to them. Definitely it's not something you really think about in July in Texas. Flooding. It just but listen, I mean, the climate is changing. Things are getting crazy. Things are happening that you wouldn't normally see. So yeah, our hearts go out to them for sure. So well, let's talk about it. We want to get into let's get into the meat of what we want to talk about today. So this episode's called Welcome to Gilead. Now, if you don't know what Gilead is, it's all good. You got to watch this series on Hulu called The Handmaid's Tale. I initially was not going to watch it.
And I initially wasn't going to watch it either. My girlfriend, she was just like, Faith, this is so good. If you can get beyond a few things, you got to push through. You got to watch it. So
yeah,
after you saw it the first episode and you were like, I'm pulled in. It was like the opposite for me. It was like, I was like, oh, I don't know how they treating women. And, I'm not sure if I'm feeling that too much, but since you said you were interested, I was like, okay, well, let's see if we'll watch it together and see how it develops. Boy, oh boy,
it was good. Now
still is good. We still on it.
You got to go ahead and watch it. You know what I mean? Yeah, we still are on it, but we've almost gotten through the whole thing. It's 6 seasons.
Yeah, we're at 6 now.
The premise of the show is basically America is overthrown and turned into a new type of government,
right?
Where women don't have a lot of rights, and their whole thing it's a whole it's a whole change of the dynamic of America to turn it into something more religious, and mainly their goal is to have more children to raise the birth rate. So, but anyway, you guys should,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, you guys should definitely go ahead and see it. I'm not
said that before you started.
yeah, but you know what? It's so much for them to learn from it. It's not even. I gave them a little sprinkle of what it's about, but the point is the new country, it's basically America, a certain portion of Americans taking over America and turning it into a new thing, and the new country is called Gilead.
Yeah.
Now, Gilead, right? So why do we call it Gilead? So Gilead. America now to me, I call it Gilead. And the reason why we call it that is that some of the behavior and stuff we have going on in America, I feel like there's a level of takeover of behavior that is going in the wrong direction.
So Gilead acting like behavior.
Yeah, Gilead acting behavior, or, you could say there's behavior that makes people want to, depending on how you look at Gilead. But if Gilead is a negative thing, we'll just say that the point is that you have a certain portion of America who is turning it over into something different.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get into this, right? So the first thing I wanted to talk about, let's talk about the flights, right? So I saw this a couple of days ago. It was a flight on Frontier Airlines, and I feel like every time I look at my timeline, there's a new story about, I don't know, it used to be Spirit, but I think Frontier is the new, I don't even call it ghetto, but the new reckless airline where you don't know what's going to happen. So now
has it always been that way, or is it just because this story came out? Have you always heard of Frontier being a reckless?
No, here's the thing.
I don't think I have.
It used to be Spirit. You know what I'm saying? But Frontier is like, I've seen stories about the employees who are extra over the top and rude to people.
Okay.
And I've seen stories like this story I'm going to play in a minute about passengers fighting.
Yeah.
And, how do we get to a point in America where people are actually not scared to fight on a moving plane in the air? So let me play this real quick. I'm going to play this quick story. Now, full disclosure. Let me just play it first. Now,
full disclosure, what?
Let me play it.
Okay.
All right. Full disclosure. When I first saw the story, I was thinking a little bit of things about how us as black folks, we always fighting in public, and we're going to get more into that in this show. But I thought bad about this story initially. And anyway, let me play it.
Okay.
We'll play it.
Seen as a fight breaks out on board a Frontier Airlines flight bound for Miami while it was still in the air. The plane was about to land when, according to police records, 21-year-old Ishan Sharma was returning to his seat when he allegedly grabbed another passenger by the neck. The two trading blows, passengers trapped, witnessing the chaos.
The man sitting behind was making comments to the man in front, like negative comments the whole flight. And the man in front went to the bathroom, and when he came back, that's when things started to escalate.
Sisters Rosa and Regina Gurgley seeing the scuffle firsthand.
You could hear just like pounding kind of, and like people talking or yelling, and we could just see two people fighting, and it was almost like hitting the wall next to it.
I saw the fight initially. I saw my man with the locks, with the dreads. He was mauling that Indian guy like a bear. He was on him like a bear.
Yeah.
He was not stomping him out, but he was whomping him out.
Yeah.
Right? Now, initially I was like, yo,
well, wasn't he protecting himself?
Yes.
Okay.
So initially when the story was reported, I was seeing a lot of conversation about, going into the whole conversation about black fatigue and black people fighting in public. And this story kind of fell into that algorithm initially from what I noticed. But then when you go into the story, then you start to realize that the young Indian man, what he actually was doing, he was talking stuff to the brother.
Something tells me, I don't know if this guy is on something, because in this report in the U.S. Sun, it said someone was telling WSVN, I'm guessing that's like a news station of some sort, quote, he was doing some like dark laugh, like ha 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 ha. And he was saying things like, you punt. Mortal man, if you challenge me, it will result in your death.
Oh, okay. He had some stuff going on. Yeah. Because I heard he was talking about death or something.
Yeah. So then Keanu pressed the assistance button to call for help from the airline staff.
Right.
And once that happened, the guy started grabbing him by the throat.
Got you.
And the tables quickly turned.
So when I first saw the story, I was like, what would make this guy whoop this guy's ass 35,000 feet in the air like
that? You gotta do something. You ain't gonna let nobody grab you by the throat like that and just do nothing.
Yeah. There's no question about it.
Yeah,
so,
you gotta do something.
When you see that, it kind of makes sense now, and I think people didn't realize what it was at
right
first, but I think that this guy obviously had some mental issues, meaning the Indian man.
Yeah. And, something was going on for him to be talking like that. People don't talk like that
badly.
Unless you in the not the Stone Age, but what do you call it? Not unless you in
medieval times.
Medieval times. Yeah, there we go.
Bartholomew in them, like I said.
Yeah.
No, now the Frontier flight, again, that looked like it was falling into the narrative, but that brother defended himself.
Yeah, for real.
Rightfully so. But from what I understand, I think that they took him into custody. People fighting in flight, because I've seen other fights in flight too. And I don't know if we've gotten to a point, because it used to be where people were scared to have any type of confrontation, even on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Because typically, they can charge you with like a terroristic threat.
Yeah.
If it's something that the pilot feels that is threatening, you know what I'm saying, the flight or whatever the case is. And obviously you can get assault and battery and stuff like that pretty easy. But people are now fighting in flight. So I don't know, man. Here's my thing. What I probably would have done, see, if he had grabbed my neck.
Oh, you would have been.
I don't know if I would have whooped his ass. I
think you would have, because you would go to 10. You would go to 10. And you would just start.
I would have choked him out.
So y'all would have just been choking each other?
He wouldn't have been choking me. He wouldn't have been choking me. Nah, he wouldn't have been choking me. I would have been moving that arm off, and then I would have been choking him. Like, dude, what's wrong with you? I probably smacked him one good time.
Yeah, you probably smack him for real.
Man, stop it. I know you feel like you're crazy right now, but I'm crazier. Stop it. I don't want to fight in flight. We can fight once we land.
Yeah, we can. Bartholomew, we can do this once we land, okay?
Once we land and we get past baggage claim, we can do this.
You want to go man to man, chest to chest? Didn't he take his shirt off too, or something like that?
I don't think he took his shirt. I don't know if he took his shirt off, maybe because it fell off while he was getting punched. Because
I think he took his shirt off.
Him like a bear, man. But
I think he took his shirt off. But Keanu, our brother, was saying is that what he hates is that the video only captured his reaction. It didn't really capture the whole thing. But luckily, there were witnesses to say that, this other guy, his name is Ishan. Ishan is 21. Keanu,
he looked a little older.
I think he's older. No, he's not 21. But the kid who attacked was 21. Ishan was actually taken into custody. Keanu was not.
Okay, so the Indian boy was taken. I don't call him a boy. Indian man was. He's a boy, 21.
The rowdy passenger. The rowdy one.
The rowdy one.
Yep, he was arrested in Miami.
The rocket starter was taken into custody, and then they did not arrest the brother.
They did not arrest him.
Well, that sounds like justice to me.
That's justice.
He was the brother was able to defend himself and not go to jail. Yeah. I was like seeing it, I'm like, oh, they're going to take him to jail and charge him with all kind of stuff, because that was an epic beatdown. But needless to say, all right, so let's move on to Carnival cruise ships. Everybody's talking about Carnival. We went on a cruise, what was that, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was about 2. Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Family friendly cruise. We didn't see any fights.
Nope.
At the food bar.
Nope.
At the ping pong table.
Nope.
By the pool. It was all calm and love.
It was all kosher.
So let's get into this. So let's get into Carnival. Carnival has apparently, they've been saying that a Carnival has banned hip hop music from the cruises, but I don't know if that's actually true. Is that false?
I don't think they've come out and publicly stated that they've banned anything.
Okay.
It's just been the reports from the DJs and the guests because I guess the guests might be requesting certain music, and the DJs are like, "Nah, I can't play hip hop. I was told not to play any hip hop music."
That's funny.
Or any rap music. I don't know if it was hip hop or did they say rap. I think it was rap. We can't play any rap.
Differentiating the two, but
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
not that hippity hoppity stuff anymore, huh?
Yeah, they were like, we were told that we're not supposed to play hip hop. So then, of course, word spreads, and now it's out there that Carnival Cruise has banned rap.
Has been banned. Okay.
Rap has been banned from Carnival Cruise.
All right, let's check this out.
But nothing official from Carnival Cruise has indicated that.
A brawl broke out aboard Carnival Sunrise over the weekend as the ship sailed from Half Moon Cay in the Bahamas. Yeah, video shows multiple passengers throwing chairs and fists on the Lido near the pizzeria in the back of the ship. Now, Carnival, their security team quickly intervened to de-escalate the situation. Following its strict zero-tolerance policy, Carnival confirmed that the passengers involved are now permanently banned from sailing with the cruise line. Recently, Carnival placed letters in the staterooms fleet-wide outlining its have fun, be safe rules and policies.
It looks like this fight that we saw happened in the kitchen. So, from what I remember, when the food was out there for dinner.
Wait, hold on. Happened in the kitchen, like with the staff?
No, I mean, I'm sorry. It happened in the food area where
okay.
we get food.
Okay.
So, from what I remember, there was always enough food. It was you never ran out of food. There was no need to fight over the last piece of roast beef or pizza. It was always the food was always coming.
The food was limitless.
So
the food was limitless. If they were out, they were coming back with more.
So my thing is that, do you think, have we just gotten, and I hate that this is on the melanated people of the world. I hate that that's on us when it comes to these situations. But in the video, unfortunately, it was us throwing the chair. So look, I take the goods and I take the bads. I take the praise and I take the bads. It's just part of the game. Now, is every black person responsible for every black person? No. However, the thing about it is that I think it has culturally, are we going from America to Gilead? Are people just not caring about how they act anymore? Has it gotten worse? Because I just feel like the fights that I'm seeing in public places, people don't even care no more. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll just fight anywhere. And I'm trying to understand, where do we go wrong culturally? What is going on? You think it's our age? You think it's a Gen Z thing? What do you think?
How old were the people that were throwing the chairs?
Now that I don't know.
Was it not a young crowd?
I have to assume. I don't think anybody who's 40 and up is throwing chairs inside. You know, I've seen some other cruise fights and arguments and stuff like that, and they were all like younger. They were all like 30 and under, maybe 20 somethings and 30 somethings.
Okay,
most, but what is it?
Yeah, it's just a lack of control of their emotions for the most part. If you're going to let the littlest thing set you off, then that just shows lack of emotional intelligence, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that can come from, you have to learn. Sometimes you have to learn how.
Is it parenting?
I think it's definitely parenting, and it's not calling out the behavior when it needs to be called out. If you're not going to call out the behavior when at the time that it needs to be called out, so they can self-correct or correct that behavior. If you don't catch it, then it can go unchecked, and they think it's okay to do that behavior out there in the world.
Yep.
So I think it's a matter of unchecked behavior, and they think it's okay to do it out in public because that's something they've probably been doing.
Well, that's a good point, because we've been talking about people, the entitlement, and I've been talking about this the past couple episodes about Americans and being very entitled. Now, in relation to Black America, I hate to see all the fights over every little thing. I do think that there's a subset of our culture where we have allowed children to feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to set it off over every little thing. And I think, quite honestly, a lot of people are seeing their parents do that. Right? So there's nothing wrong with not taking no shit. There's nothing wrong with standing on business when you need to stand on business. But it's become now where people are standing on business. They think they're standing on business over everything, every little thing. Someone cut you in line. Someone, what's the thing I saw the other day where we were just talking about it. It was something where damn, I forgot what it was. It'll come back to me. But it's little stuff like someone cut you in line, or someone someone cut you off in traffic, or someone got your order wrong. I've seen many videos where someone got the order wrong, and men and women alike. I'll tell you right now, I've seen more women now fighting, which is alarming because, again, we have to teach women how to conduct themselves. And I don't think women should be fight. Here's the thing. With men, we all know men know that when you do fight, there's consequences. And men, typically, it can go further. Someone can die. Women are just fighting over every little thing. And what bothers me is that you have the teens who grow into their 20-somethings, and they don't mind fighting and pulling hair. And it's a million videos on the internet doing that.
It's like there's no other option but to put hands on. And that should honestly be the last option. You should never want to Yeah, it's like that's the first option now. You never want to physically attack anybody, because that can, cause major consequences. So learn how to use your words, I suppose. I mean, just start with words, I mean, if it was a matter of them cutting into line, excuse me, ma'am, I was here, the line is back there, or something like that, then if they, start to be more confrontational, I mean, I'm just going to back, all right.
You're supposed to
it's not even worth it.
You're supposed to defend yourself. It's supposed to be about defending yourself. It's not supposed to be like ready to fight.
Like I'm on 10. Like you say this, you say the littlest thing.
I dare you to.
I dare you. I'm on 10 already. I'm ready to go. What you guys?
What you gonna do?
What you gotta say? What you gonna do?
And you sitting here. There was a woman.
You amping yourself up for the fight.
There was a woman at Popeyes who got so mad about the service. I guess the service was slow. She was with a baby too. She said, you know what? I'm going to go around and start serving myself. So she went back there and started getting her own chicken, her own biscuits, putting it in the box, and then was like, I ain't paying for it either. So it's look, obviously it's not everybody, but the point is that there is certainly a problem within culture, within American culture. And again, like I said, I feel like in our culture, in Black American culture, we are not, we have to call the behavior out. So again, that's why people are doing this whole black fatigue thing, which I don't like that.
Yeah.
But I think that, again, stereotypes, you can't stop stereotypes on the internet. So I'm not here trying to push a stereotype. But again, I think that, when we raising kids, we got to be like, yo, how do you handle everything ain't that serious. You can be like, no, it's all good. My bad. You step on somebody's foot, you bumped into somebody, you cut into front of somebody, whatever. Oh, my bad. No problem. You got it. No big deal. And the sad thing is that you got grown people on a Carnival ship doing this, where the whole world is talking about Black people on Carnival ships. I hate it. I hate it. But it's like we got to address it. And some people are pushing it like it's a funny story. And for those who, push stories about Black people, it's like it's part of the algorithm. I get it, but I'm more worried about the root cause of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm seeing a lot of it. And whoever was in that video was a grown man throwing the chair. So here's what I'll tell you. I'll tell you this right now. We got to people need level-headed men raising them too.
Yeah.
Along with their mama. Right? I'm not going to put this on women, but what I'm saying is that you got to look at the way these men are acting too. Because there's a lot of grown men who cannot control their emotions, like you said. And nobody's checking it. So, but anyway, with Carnival deciding to quote unquote ban.
Well, apparently they've also decided to some other policies, key policies, the Carnival Cruise Line has either put forth or also have in their guidelines. I didn't even know drugs were allowed on Carnival.
What you mean drug? What kind of drugs?
Cannabis. Marijuana.
Marijuana is allowed on the cruise ship?
It says that there's stricter enforcement on drugs, including cannabis. Stricter enforcement. I didn't think that they were allowed at all. Drugs, period.
Maybe it's not. Maybe they're just enforcing it harder if you get caught with something.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, that's going on too. So it's probably, listen, when you have unlimited alcohol on a cruise ship, unlimited, remember they have that package. We had the option of getting that unlimited package for liquor, for alcohol.
Sure.
When you have that in combination with, I guess, whatever drugs are allowed to go on the cruise ship, even if it is marijuana, well, marijuana kind of calms you down a little bit, but yeah, it should. But I guess if you mix it with alcohol, perhaps there can be some kind of adverse reaction where you just
you'd probably be asleep.
Crazy. Well, that's true.
Probably go to sleep faster. Alcohol and weed, yeah, you're going to sleep. You're not about to be fighting anybody. And if you are fighting, you'll be not fighting well.
All right, then. Well, let's just blame it on the alcohol then. Maybe with the unlimited packages of alcohol
No,
unlimited.
You're not gonna do that.
Well, I'm just gonna let me finish what I'm gonna say. I said that in combination with just bad behavior. It kind of accelerates it. I would say
you already are.
It accelerates what you already are. Yes.
Okay, I can feel that. Now,
so I don't think it's the rap music. I don't think it's the music alone. Although music can drive.
The rap music.
Music has influence. Let's just say that all music has influence. Like sure. It, not all bad influence, but music has influence. Sure. Some music, if it's super aggressive, super sexual, you tend to act in that, in that way. So I can see how it can cause an escalation when you already have a bad behavior.
That, you know what though? What's interesting about that is that what you're saying is really true. It's such a strong, controversial conversation about music, because music is a frequency. Music is music. It does precipitate or does push you in a certain direction if you let it. Now, cruises used to be, my interpretation of cruises used to be for older people. Cruises used to be calm. Like the idea of a fight on a cruise is actually crazy to me. Cruises were not supposed to be turned up like that.
No.
Right. So
especially when you're just in line waiting for food. Like that to me is crazy. Now, these cruise lines, they have like clubs. Sometimes they have clubs and only 21 and up are allowed and all of this stuff. And so I can understand it may be happening under those circumstances, but for it to happen when you're just in the dining hall, when you're eating, that's crazy. Not that when you're in the club it gives any excuse, but yeah, you're around family. You're around a lot of people.
Cruises are family. Cruises, unless you're on an adult cruise,
right?
Which this was not. You have, single people and you have families. It's like, why are you fighting on a cruise? I don't understand. So, go ahead. What you gonna say?
Oh my God! They have also banned. I forgot to mention this. They have also banned handheld non-battery fans.
Why is that?
Do you know what you maybe you should pull this up. Boots on the ground fan.
Wait a minute. So you're saying they banned boots on the ground line? You said line dance or the fans you use?
The fans that you use.
Okay. Let me show folks so they can see this here. Ground fan.
Line dance is called boots on the ground, but it includes these fans.
Oh, the fans are part of the fans?
The fans are part of it.
Why did they ban the fans?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know why they would ban.
That's interesting. So they banned.
Oh, right.
So anything else they banned?
Yes, they also banned Bluetooth personal speakers. They're banned in public areas.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Because here's the thing. If you think about it though, too, I could kind of understand, right? Because just like when we go to the beach, people go to the beach or the park, whatever. Everybody have their Bluetooth speakers, and there's different levels of Bluetooth speakers. Some people's Bluetooth speakers play a lot louder than others. So somebody gets a big Bluetooth speaker that blows yours out of the water. You might be like, damn, I can't hear my music. That could be a fight.
Or the music could also be inappropriate whenever it's in public and you got kids in the area, you know, playing too. So
yes, absolutely.
I get that.
Absolutely. So I could see that. Now, if you think about the cruise, right? So generally, like on the cruise when we went, it was like, you know, you have the pool areas, like a common area, right? And then obviously where you sit down and play your ping pong or whatever it is, kind of outside of the food area. People may have their Bluetooth speakers, and I can feel that because people don't care. Some people just do not care about playing their music for them. Like, I'm gonna play my music for everybody. I don't care if you want to hear it or not. And like you said, it could be inappropriate. So, side note, just to this point, this is it's totally unrelated, but related. So, at the water park the other day, we have a great water park around us, and I took the kids there a couple days ago, and they had a DJ out there just playing music.
Oh,
so it was cool. He playing music. It's all good, you know. And keep in mind, this kitty splash, not splash pad, but
it's like
kitty water park.
Yeah, kitty water park. Yeah.
I mean, you got kids that are between, like, you know, 3 and maybe 9 or 10, right, at the most, right? So my man, the DJ, decides he's gonna play "Hit 'Em Up," the street version.
What?
Tupac. And I'm like, what are you doing, my man? Like, he's playing the street version, and you know, we all know how much Pac is cursing in there, probably more than any other song. And I'm just I just got up and I just started walking over and looking at him. I was kind of across the way, and I just kind of looked, and a lot of parents were like, I can see a lot of parents like
giving them the eye.
Bro, are you serious right now?
You got kids.
Yes. So, non-related, but the point is that when you have music playing around kids, you got to be conscious of that. So that could be why they did the carnival.
No, I totally get it.
Anything else they banned?
Oh yeah. So they've also, they've more strictly enforced a 15 drink limit a day.
15.
You can only have 15 drinks in a day.
I mean, that's
enough. That's a lot of drinks.
That's a lot of drinks. I think 15 drinks is enough.
15 is a lot.
That's enough to drink in a day. I mean,
that's plenty to drink in a day.
I mean, during drinking hours. I mean, let's say you start drinking at.
What do you mean drinking hours? Any hour is a drinking hour.
Well, on the cruise, that's true. But I'm assuming that you start drinking after breakfast.
From the bar, okay. Like if I'm assuming you're not. Bar.
I'm assuming you're drinking like around lunchtime. You're not drinking at breakfast, but let's just say you're drinking at 11 or 12, whatever, right? And you have all day 15 drinks. I mean, you should be straight.
That's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's 3 every 5 hours. No, wait, 3, 6, 9, 12.
Crazy right now.
15. Yeah, so that's
how many hours you saying?
No, that's 3. That's 3 drinks every hour for 5 hours.
Right. Math was a little spooky for me. I'm like, wait a minute. Right, there you go.
Yeah, 3 drinks every hour for 5 hours. So say you start at like 12, like with lunch.
You're done at 5.
3 drinks every hour.
After 5.
Well, I'm just thinking 3 drinks every. It's easy to consume 3. Well, no.
I mean,
because you don't stop it every hour. That's wild.
You're an alcoholic if you're drinking 3 drinks on.
That's a lot.
Every
okay,
hour.
15 drink limit. I ain't mad at that.
Jeez, how much do you got to drink? That's for 5 hours straight. That's enough drinks. Come on, 15.
I think that's a drink. I think that's enough. And minor's curfew is at 1 a.m.
Okay.
And I heard something about like supervision, parental supervision. What was it? Something about if you're 21, you have to have a 25-year-old present. I don't know. I don't quote me on that one.
Well,
there is some kind of age supervision type of thing too.
They're obviously changing, and because of the behavior is obviously changing, and I think more people are, being. I don't know the statistics as far as how cruises have increased, but it seems like cruises are becoming more and more popular.
Oh yeah, cruises are definitely very popular, and some cruises are more affordable than others, obviously, and I think Carnival Cruise Line is probably one on the less expensive cruise lines to
Well, if you think about it in general, like cruises are attractive to people because it's like if you're flying somewhere, you got to fly your family or you and your couple, you and your spouse or whatever it is. Then you getting all these things separate. So cruises, I think, are attractive because everything's included.
It's all inclusive. Yeah, all the stuff is there, and you can go to multiple places on one trip.
But we got to keep the reckless behavior out of there before they start banning everybody. Man, this is crazy.
I just don't. There's just no need for reckless behavior when you're on a vacation. It's just like you're on a vacation. You're there to have fun. You're there with your friends. The people are there with your family. Just be, just go on there to have a good time. Obviously, ain't nobody trying to start a fight. But just like keep everything calm and collected. It's like it's not a big deal. It's just not a big deal. And yeah, just take more responsibility.
Also, to throw that in there too,
your behavior.
Like, most of y'all know y'all can't swim, so you do not need to be fighting. me personally, the last thing I'm thinking about is having a fight
because you don't want to be thrown over.
Exactly. I mean, y'all know y'all can't swim, so the last thing you want to do is be tussling and fighting, sweaty, getting thrown over the side of the side of the boat. Or you fall down from one deck to the other deck. Those boats are big. So we gotta cut it out. But I think that there's so much going on with the behavior of the fights in public places, planes, boats,
trains,
automobiles, fast food places, trains. I mean, there's been always been fights on trains. Like, guilty pleasure, I used to go on YouTube and watch New York subway fights because they were just interesting. But that's just it is what it is. But but for real, we got to stop the behavior, and I hate to see it pegged on us. So we've got to start raising our kids to have some level of conflict resolution.
Yeah,
it's so important.
Yeah,
we raise our kids to handle conflicts, and there's all types of things that'll come at you in life. But if you're gonna fight every time and every minute, you're gonna end up dead. You're gonna end up in jail.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You're gonna end up destroying your life. So, but nonetheless, so let's talk about Mexico City, which I think is a very interesting situation. So there were some protests by locals in Mexico City, and apparently they were protesting they're protesting gentrification in certain areas of Mexico City because they are complaining about cost of living, jobs, things like that. And it's I'm gonna go through some of what I saw in the story, but what's interesting is why are you looking at me like
like what? What am I looking at?
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, say more.
Say more. So what's crazy about it is that it's ironic because we're going through this whole thing right now with immigration, and I don't know, I just thought it was funny to see I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was funny to see the Mexicans get mad about US citizens, like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I thought it was the irony.
Or learn to speak Spanish. I've seen that. Yeah, learn to speak Spanish. Like, if you're going to be in our country, speak Spanish. I love those signs.
I'm not mad at that, though.
I'm not mad at it either.
I think that's so normal.
Yeah.
I don't even think people really would be offended.
Yeah.
I think it's only in America that people are offended that you demand people to speak English or to learn American culture, quote unquote. It's kind of like, it's an interesting thing. So we're supposed to be accepting, and we, even if someone is in the country who doesn't even speak English, you're still supposed to be like, okay, cool.
Find a way to communicate.
Figure out how to communicate.
Yeah,
with you
have to find a way to communicate. Yep.
We were in Wendy's a couple of days ago ordering food. The guy didn't even know how to take my order. But
yeah,
it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? They have the big the screen. Now, let me go on to this before I do Mexico City. I gotta do my gripe.
Yeah, let him do his gripe.
My gripe. Right? Now, I don't know if this is Gilead or America, but this is my gripe. I do not like the screens when I go to order food. I know that AI is taking over. I get it. I love technology. We all love technology. But Everybody's talking about raising minimum wage. Mandami's talking about raising minimum wage in New York to $30 an hour. Cool, whatever. It's all good. I do not like the screens that I have to, place my order. Now, if I want to use the screen, for instance, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to like a Wendy's or some burger places, they have a screen. I think McDonald's has them too, where you can place your order on the screen instead of having a cashier take your order. My thing is this. I want the option. If I want to use the screen, cool. If I don't want to use the screen, I want a person to take my order. I'm picky. I like weird things like half a piece of cheese instead of the full piece of cheese. I like no mayonnaise. I want half a tomato. I'm like that because I'm funny. I don't like my bread soggy. I'm very weird, but it's my choice because I'm paying.
Right.
So someone should take my order. I don't want the screen. So we were dealing with that the other day, and the guy, maybe I should have used the screen because the guy messed up the order. But
no, we couldn't use the screen because remember you weren't able to replace the drink with the Frosty.
Yeah, there's different.
So we
things
had
you
to.
can't do on
Yeah,
this.
we had to actually talk to someone.
Yeah, but anyway, that's not even part of the Mexico City thing. But to the Mexico City thing, so you had them protest.
What was your point with that, though? You didn't make your point with that. Is that if someone's going to take your order?
Well, my point. The reason why I went into that story about the fast food or the screens is because the guy I don't think spoke very good English. So I think that
he probably didn't understand the order because what happened was instead of us getting a single burger, we all got double burgers
or triple burgers or something like that.
Right.
But I think in some cases they're using the screens because some of the workers don't understand English that well. So the thing is that if you take the order, if you put in your order on those screens, those self-service screens, the people who are making the food possibly can read what's back there. Maybe it's not even in English, it could be in Spanish. So it may be that situation where it allows people, and it's cool, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I just think that it should be a option. I think that people should still take your order.
Yeah.
If you're going places. So especially if you're talking about raising minimum wage.
Or make the screen more customizable. You got to be able to customize. I mean, I know you like to, do your in person. Yeah, your live.
I'm keeping it old school.
Your live in person.
But anyway, Mexico City, right? So it's ironic now, Mexico City. So let's take a look at this. Mexico City, there was hundreds protest about gentrification and mass tourism that began peacefully on Friday in Mexico City. I'm assuming that was a couple of days ago on the 4th. So Mexico City has been popular with tourists, right? And obviously has been kind of a place that foreigners, mainly I'm assuming U.S. citizens, have been going since 2020. A lot of this started during the pandemic. So a lot of people went, as people escape places like New York and San Francisco, expensive places.
Yeah.
People started moving south, and people started moving south to Mexico because the prices are cheaper. They were calling them digital intruders who basically go there and work and live there and work digitally and, work for U.S. companies. Apparently, what they were saying is that the locals, mass protesters, started smashing windows and looted some high-end businesses in the touristic area of Condesa and Roma, and screamed at tourists, graffiti on the glass being smashed with rocks, saying, and the graffiti read, "Get out of Mexico." Right? Protesters held up signs reading, "Gringos, stop stealing our homes." Right? And demanding local legislation to better regulate tourism levels and stricter housing laws. Right? So marchers then continued to protest outside the U.S. Embassy and chanted inside the city's metro system. Police reinforcement gathered outside the embassy building as police sirens rung out in the city center. But going back to the what they said, this is really interesting for them to say that. They said, "Gringos, stop stealing our homes," and demanded local legislation to better regulate tourist levels and stricter housing laws. I wanted to repeat that. Why? Because this is basically the process of what's going on in America on a larger level, right? So and I try to tell people this before. Anytime you live somewhere and you have people coming in, now these aren't even illegal immigrants coming into Mexico City. These are, I'm assuming, legal. I don't know what the status is. I don't know
because if they're working there remotely, probably some kind of work.
They may
permit.
They might only be doing like a visitor's permit or something.
Or a visitor's permit. Oh, okay.
Because I think they may just be people who work digitally, remotely, and have an option to live wherever they want. So it's probably not their work, probably not their job telling them where to work.
No,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? So, but again, you have locals who are saying, "Yo, you coming in, you're taking our homes." What does that mean? That means people are coming in and occupying places that were for locals, and it may drive up the prices. Those immigrants, U.S. immigrants mainly, may have more money, may drive up prices. So the people who are living there, like, yo,
apparently, developers turning apartments into Airbnbs, evicting tenants in order to cater to the short-term U.S. renters.
Ding, 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 ding. So when people complain, look, I'm not for anybody getting harassed by ICE and anything crazy, but when people have to understand that immigration is not just some U.S. People act like it's some U.S. created thing. It happens everywhere, everywhere. So that's why when you look at it, I thought it was ironic because we were calling them. Now again, y'all may not know what Gilead is, but if we're Gilead and the U.S. we're Gilead, and they're not Canada in the story, but they're like.
Yeah, because they're like, go home, go back to where you came from. We don't want you here.
Well, because
that's what they were saying in Handmaid's Tale. The Canadians were saying that to the refugees who were there, like, we don't want you here. Go back to America.
Well, that's because Americans think we're welcome anywhere. So it's ironic because you would think, oh, they're not going to complain.
Right.
Americans are coming over there in Mexico City. Now, Mexico City is just one city. It's not all of the country.
Yeah.
But Mexico City is a popular touristy area. So it goes to show you that anywhere you go and immigrate into a place is going to affect the people who live there.
Yes.
And, for them to say, hey, they want stricter housing laws based on what you just said. Because you're right. People are going to say, okay, if Americans are going there, boom, you're going to have investors going to say, I'm going to go there. We're going to do some Airbnbs. That's going to screw up people who live there because it's going to drive the cost of living up. Right. In addition to that, it gentrifies the area, and gentrification.
It sure does.
It's not always. It can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it's ironic that they did that, and they went ahead and was smashing up businesses. It's supposed to be a peaceful march, but
come on, don't mess up your community.
Well, they're saying that, like I said, they said tensions have been mounting in the city. Digital nomads, that's the word I'm looking for. Digital nomads flocked to Mexico City in 2020. Right? Many escaped the coronavirus lockdowns in the U.S. or took advantage of cheaper rent prices in the Latin American cities. So, the digital nomads, right? And that's just something that, people have to understand. So I mentioned that story so people can realize, like, yo, when people complain and think that the whole conversation about illegal immigrants is something that's racist or something that's against Latinos. Nah, it's just, at the end of the day, you have people who live here too, who are concerned. It may not be all Americans, but there are pockets of America where illegal immigration has affected U.S. citizens. But the concept is that Americans are always okay and we always got money and it don't really affect us, and they're doing jobs we don't want to do, and who's gonna pick the fruit and all this stupidness. And it's like, what are you talking about? Everybody who come here from across the border is not picking fruit,
right?
So but anyway, that's something. So if you're going to Mexico City, realize they might tell you to get the hell out of here. if you're not there for the right reasons, or you're trying to stay too long. But
well, apparently they have like 180-day tourist visas.
Okay, so 6 months. So I'm wondering
if you can renew that every 6 months.
That's the question. That's a good question. I'm gonna have to look into that because I don't know the digital nomads. If some of them came in 2020, obviously, if the locals are complaining, it's not about people staying for 6 months. People are probably renewing.
Oh yeah, they're definitely renewing. That's the thing. Yeah, is that they're renewing.
Yeah.
And despite I mean, they're there for work, but they may not realize what's happening on the other side of you just being there for work. And
they don't care.
I mean, I know they don't care, but yeah,
they don't care.
They ain't
They're
thinking
like,
about
man,
that. Yeah, they ain't thinking about that.
Way
But
cheaper.
the people that live in there, they care.
They care.
They care.
And I think that's the thing that probably the what I would have to say is that the those who are involved with the laws, the government, I'd say, just for lack of a better word, the local government is probably not tripping because the money coming in.
Money's coming in.
So they're like, at the same time, like, well, you locals, you guys may have a problem, but we got U.S. money coming in, and on the flip, I don't know what the argument is on the flip side of people coming here, but I don't know. People, money ain't coming in on our side. People who are coming in illegally,
right?
Money ain't coming in. Money's
it's
going out.
Going out, right?
But that's a whole nother show. So, but anyway, let us know what y'all think. Gilead is a bad thing. If you watch the show, Gilead is not a good thing. It's America turning into a lot of dysfunctional, degenerate behavior. And it's starting to show now. It's not just something you could say if you saw something here and there, it's one thing. But the degenerate behavior has gotten really bad to the point now where you are seeing conflicts and fights everywhere over everything. Grown people who should know how to manage themselves
and conduct themselves, and to emotionally regulate themselves. Yes.
Kids, you expect that, but grown people, it's just gotten crazy,
Yeah, you got to take some accountability there.
I haven't been in many fights in my life. I'm a grown man. I haven't had to have many fights in my life.
I haven't had to have one.
Scuffling and rolling on the floor. Like, that's my goal the rest of my life, to never get into a fight.
And that's what we tell the kids too. Like, our son takes karate, and we're like, look, it's nice to know these skills. You're not intending on using your skill on anyone, but these are good skills to have for in case you do need to defend yourself. Because our daughter, on the other hand, she was at the playground, and I don't know, something happened, something went down, and she was ready.
She was ready to turn that whole playground upside down.
So, I just want to go over there, and what'd she say? Tell him
to shut up
or something like that. So we had to have a really good conversation with her. And it's like, yeah, we understand why you're upset. We understand how you can, feel really angry, but it's never the intent to go and start a fight or to initiate a fight. Actually, you want to go through life without getting into any fights.
Yep.
Period. If you can help it.
But you want to be able to defend yourself if you have to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's a teaching moment where we take that emotion, that anger that she feels, and either redirect it and help her understand and be able to relate why she's feeling the way that she's feeling. And to say, you're valid in feeling that way.
Right.
You're valid for your feelings.
Right.
But it's you don't want to act on just the emotion alone.
Yeah.
You don't want to just go with that emotion and act on it.
Yeah.
You have to, I don't know.
You got to think it through.
You got to say,
okay, everything is not that serious.
Yeah, and realize, like, it's not that serious. Yeah. It's never that serious for you to physically put your hands on anybody.
Exactly. I mean,
unless you're defending yourself. That's something totally different.
And that's how you.
But you don't want to be the instigator.
Exactly. You don't want to. And just to your point, I focus a lot on. I think men. It's a lesson that I think that men need, no question. And I think for the most part, I think men understand that, even though there are a lot of grown men who are acting like girls, if you will. But the segment of girls, I don't think we've been really focusing on that, because the amount of girls fighting, and I mean girls as in females, grown women too, fighting is really, I feel like it's been a surge over the last 20 to 30 years. It's ridiculous. I mean, so to that point, when you're dealing with a daughter young, yes, you take their emotion, you say, yeah, I know you're feeling emotion, But you can't just go putting your hands on everybody. You can't argue about everything because these behaviors carry on.
Oh yeah,
from teenage years and they carry on into
your adulthood.
And that's how you have grown women fighting in grocery stores over a word,
and thinking they're valid,
and thinking it's valid,
and thinking it's okay, and thinking it's valid, not taking any accountability.
Yeah, I'm right to do that. I'm right to go off. Ready to fight, and that. This is what is to me is what brought us into Gilead, the land of destructive behavior. So, there's a saying that says, you can't save adults, but you can save children. I'm probably not even saying it right, but that's the gist of the saying. But I think that, we have to focus on kids and help them to deal with things and say it's not that serious. Most things people are fighting over is not that serious. So let me know what you guys think. Is it America or Gilead? I would say we are more Gilead right now than America. That's my thing. But let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for tapping into the Crucial Combo podcast. You're tapped in with Kojo and my beautiful wife,
Faith Afriye,
in the building. So check us out. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit that. Turn on notifications. Check my beautiful wife out at
Have Faith Yoga.
Everything
on all social platforms, social media platforms.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you guys soon. Out of here.
All right. Bye.